Hi friends, today we are needle felting these sweet fall ornaments with these darling little mushrooms and their delicate little floral vines. This is a beginner needle felting project, but even if you're more advanced, you're going to love it too. We are going to show you how to needle felt a ball fast and firm so that you also create it very round. I know some people have challenges with that. Then we're going to cover it in our base color. I'll show you how to plan out your design so that your ornaments look beautiful from all sides. We'll needle felt in our mushrooms, this whimsical little earthy grass, and we'll also needle felt the vines and the floral elements. Guaranteed to put a smile on your face while you're making it, but they would also make lovely gifts or gift add-ons this year. You can display them in fall, and some of the fairies said they would even put them on their Christmas tree. I can't wait to see what you make. If you want to get the same colors that we used here on our ornaments, you can grab our kit. It's going to give you enough to make at least 4 of the bases, and if you want to make even more, just grab some more core wool. There'll be plenty of colors as well for lots more design elements. So whatever your base colors are, I know your ornaments are going to be super sweet. These are the basic supplies for our ornaments. We're starting with our CW1 core wool roving, 4 ounces for this kit, and you want to divide that into 4 equal lengths for 1 ounce each. These are the colors, which is a mixed bag studio. I'm using a range of colors for the base color, and this is a variety of wools. They're all going to be fabulous. You won't need the whole length to cover each sphere. They're very earthy and perfect for this. We're using a twine to hang our ornaments and also to plan our design. So go ahead and divide that into individual strands. You only need 1 strand per ornament. Mine are about 12 inches long. Set that aside, and it's time to needle felt our ornament core. Start with a knot a few inches off the end of your core wool and make it very tight without breaking the length of your core, and then repeat. Make 2 firm knots. This is going to start your ornament with a very firm core and give you a nice base to needle felt towards. It's going to help make your ornament very round, very dense, and very firm. I'm working with our 38 star spiral. Wrap the tail of that wool as uniformly as you can around the knot and needle felt it in place. The key to making your ornament very firm and very round is to work in small layers and needle felt each layer so that it's nice and uniform. That means you're constantly turning and moving your piece. So if you've struggled with it in the past, try this method and notice that we just do a couple of rolls and then we pause and needle felt. The reason is, if you try and ball up a whole bunch of wool and then needle felt it, your needle cannot push through all of that air and get all the fibers locked down. Trying this method is going to help you go more quickly and also make a more firm shape. I've switched to the Poquito tool, which I just keep loaded with 42 triangles. Keep working all the way around and then begin adding thinner and thinner layers. It's going to make your work go faster if your layers are thinner. I like the Poquito tool for shaping at this point and compaction. To me, it just helps so quickly. You can load it with 2 or 3 needles, and again, I'm using 42 triangles. You really want to make your ornaments nice and round, and this is what a 1 ounce hand-shaped ball looks like. It's about 2.5 inches wide, or I think 8 something circumference. I have that in the kit. Pick your base color, divide it in half. You do not need the full thickness. It can be just a little bit see-through because you're going to wrap all the way around and then just pull over the excess. You only need a gentle overlap. Needle felt all around the circumference, get everything nice and flat, and then on the edges, use your hands like this and pull off any excess. The reason is you don't want any part of the surface to be lumpy or bumpy or have folds. So you only want as much wool on this cover layer as you need, or the base color I'm calling it. You don't want too much. It's really important to take your time here, find needles using just the right amount of fiber, get everything nice and flat, uniform and smooth. If you just have a fold or something that you can't seem to get past, then cover it up with a patch because you want a great background, and this becomes our canvas. Now we are going to use our twine to help us lay out our little mushroom scape. Wrap it around the circumference of your ornament and we'll secure it temporarily with a little patch of wool on the top and the bottom. This is just a temporary placement and will help us decide where our vines go and where our earthscape goes. Repeat the same on the bottom, and you just need a light tacking to hold it in place while we get started with our design. You can see here where my twine is attached at the top and how it will help us frame our little mushroom scapes with the vine going from the grass arched over the little mushrooms and the little grass. Doing this is going to give you a great visual. Pull off a little bit of your vine color. I change mine depending on what the background is. This is the light brown. Roll it between your fingers to help it build up a little density and dimension and kind of get into a more organized strand. I like my vine to arch basically from just about the grass. It doesn't have to come out of the grass, but just above the grass. Mine flow from my right hand over across to my left hand. With your fine felting needle, just start coaxing these fibers into a vine shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. I like mine to bend and crook and arch and look as natural as possible. Go ahead and tack it down with your felting needle to get the basic shape, and then once you're happy with that layout, you can go back and refine it as much as you want. I have my vines just kind of trailing off into the sky there. This is totally subjective. Yours can be whatever decoration you like. Once we have our basic vine in place, now we want to add some sub branches, and we use the same method, just little smaller bits, a little wider where it attaches to the vine, tapering to a point. And again, try not to make these straight, let them have natural bends and crooks. You can add as many or as few as you like. The key here is they're going to help fill in the voids. Some will become a base for our leaves, and some will become a base for our flower petals. You can always come back and add a few more if you want, and if you don't like them, you can just take them away as well. You'll see that this really creates a graceful ornament and gives us a beautiful place to make our little mushroom scapes. Free the twine from the bottom because here we're going to add our little earthy grass patch. I'm working with this leafy color, a little more of the fur color, and then again some of the light brown. This is going to be a very mottled, earthy looking patch, and that's just how I like to create it. So take a little bit of each, stack them together, pull them apart, flip it over, and then pull and stack, pull and stack. Let your hands be far enough apart that you're not tearing the fibers, and just get yourself a nice little bat that you've made yourself. Put your ornament right on top of it, and this is going to ground our little scene. I like to go around and just pull off any additional fluff that's too tall. We can come back and add some later, but we want to give our mushrooms a little grass patch to grow out of. Use your felting needle here to secure the very base of this grass patch to the bottom of your ornament. You can just tack it down first to get it secure in place, and then when you're happy with the placement, we can come back in with the multi-needle tool. I'll use the Poquito tool here, but notice what we're doing is we're leaving all of the edges loose. This is going to give us a place to anchor our mushrooms. So go back, give it a look, and take out any part that might impede your design freedom. You want all the freedom to decide where your little mushroom bits go, and leave this little edge floofy so we can tuck our mushroom stems right under there. This is our canvas. We'll start our mushrooms with the mushroom caps. My first blend is using the onion, the burnt orange, and this light brown. I love just making custom little blends, and it adds some depth and interest to your little scenes. Again, just blend and stack until you're happy. Pull out any bits you don't like, and if you want to add more of a color, definitely do. We'll loosely shape this mushroom cap. It is much larger than it will be, probably 25 to 30% larger than it will be, but get the basic visual of where you're going to put it, knowing it's going to be smaller. Once you have that basic shape in place and the position where you want to put it, then we're going to flip it upside down and needle felt align. This will become the base of our mushroom cap. So needle felt a straight line across, don't go all the way to the edge, and tuck in any of these fluffy bits back towards the center. These are going to give us a place, or these are going to add some dimension. Flip your mushroom cap over and needle felt just right at the base where it attaches, like underneath. We want to leave a little lip here so that we can fluff it up. Now spend a little time shaping your mushroom cap. Notice we're using a fine felting needle. The angle is somewhat shallow. We're not plunging straight in and creating big holes. This is more of a gradual sculpting and shaping and taming the fibers. Also, what you'll notice is that we're tapering the top of the mushroom cap to taper to the ornament itself while the base sticks out. I wanted all of my mushrooms to have dimension, and I also wanted them to look very graceful and organic, very earthy. So spend your time sculpting and refining this mushroom cap here. You don't want it to be loose to the touch. You do want it to be firm, but we're going to firm it up right now by inserting some wool underneath where the gills of the mushroom are. So make a little space there and free it up just a tiny bit. And then we're going to take a little blend once we have this firmed up. So go ahead and firm that up if you need to, refine any bit. And then I'm using a blend of the oatmeal color with the light brown. And I like this to be kind of ready and not perfect. So blend it together, make a little fluff, and then decide how much you need under there. You do want enough volume that it's going to support that mushroom cap and provide some density underneath so that, again, it's very dimensional but firm, not fluffy and loose. Can't be roughed up with the fingers. Tuck all of that under there, and we're going to needle felt it into a shape that gives us enough area to put our mushroom stem. So it's slightly smaller than the cap as far as the height of it, but it is very firm and has a lot of density. Now for our mushroom stem, we're going to blend the wool again. This time we're going for some striations in the stem, and you want more volume than you think you need. Roll it between your fingers to build up some density there, and we're going to do the upside down thing again. So put it upside down just below the grass line there, tuck in any excess towards the center, and then flip it up. Anchor it underneath the grass right there. At the very top of the mushroom stem, we'll tuck under again, and now we're going to needle felt it right into the gills. All of this bulk is perfect for creating a nice little dense stem. So once you have it attached at top and bottom, then just spend your time sculpting towards the center, coaxing the sides in and building up dimension in the stem. You can go back and add some nice detail with a little bit of brown right underneath the mushroom cap. This can be very delicate and can really add just that next level of dimension. You can also add some highlights if you want as well. So tuck this under there, and then we're going to follow the same process for creating the gills. On some, I was very loose about it. On some, I was more thoughtful. You can use your fine needle. You can use a coarser needle if you want it to be more defined. But I really liked my mushrooms to just look kind of organic and ready and not too perfect. And then here I add a little shadow on the right side of the stem. In some cases, I added a shadow on the right side of the mushroom cap and a highlight on the left, just personal preference. Now we can tuck our grass up top and even tweak a little bit of it up, like twist it between your fingers and pull it up. These blades of grass can be very organic. You want them to curve a little bit, not be perfect, have them be different heights. They can overlap each other, go opposite directions, overlap the mushroom stems. Anything you do here to add some organic nature or whimsy is going to bring your little mushroom scapes to life. The colors don't have to be uniform and perfect. I find that the variegation really adds. So make them different sizes, different heights, thicknesses, etc. Let's drop in another mushroom cap real quickly. This is the pumpkin and the brown. Again, a quick blend, a quick shaping, flip it upside down, needle felt a little line into place there so we form that dimension and flip it up. Notice when we needle felt this mushroom cap, we're needle felting under what will be the edge, and this helps us build up that dimension and ultimately shape. We'll tuck a little bit of white under there for the gills on this one. And for the stem on this guy, I want him to look like he's kind of coming from the larger mushroom. You can have so much fun with these. We include some diagrams in the kit just to give you some ideas for mushrooms. And you can just freestyle them all. That's all I really did. But this is fun, and then you connect the grass and go back and add little bits of personality. In this case, we're going to put some flecks on top of the mushroom. Now these occur when the mushroom kind of explodes open, so they don't have to be perfect. Pinch a bit off, poke and twirl, poke and twirl. They don't have to be round. They can be elongated. They can be a little messy. They don't have to be perfect. You can also make spots that are different colors. I've also used the orange and the white and some blends on other mushroom colors. And it's even fun to go back and add a tiny spark of detail with a little bit of brown underneath those little spots. So cute. You can have a lot of fun with this process. Now I like to make the flower petals different colors depending on what I'm doing. This is a blend of onion and the red. And I like to pull off a tiny bit of fiber and then form it into like a teardrop. So the pointy end of the teardrop is going to blend with the vine. And I make these flat as opposed to having dimension like the mushrooms. The vines and the flowers are flat for whatever reason. And then the rounded part is coming off the end of the vine. I like doing this for the flowers because when you put two of these guys together, they look like a little heart, and it's really sweet and subtle. Now in some cases I made vines and even greenery with just doing a vine and then little bits on either side. You can do little berry styles. It doesn't matter, but this is just one technique that I like to do. Just decide where you want splotches of color, whatever color you make your flowers to be, and where you want leaves. The leaves don't require any more thought. I basically just do them backwards. So the wide part of the leaf is attached to the vine and the pointier part is off into the air. You can just put on little triangles like this. You don't have to perfectly shape them, and then just guide them all with your felting needle. Keep in mind that these don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be 100% solid. They don't need to be, meaning like they can be somewhat see-through. They don't need to be a solid color. Any variegation is just going to add interest. And you get to choose where everything goes. If you step back from your piece and give it a look, you'll decide where you want to add another leaf or where you want to keep a bare branch. The whole thing is just going to be very pleasing to your eye, and you can't get it wrong with this layout. I think once you start spinning them around, you'll decide where you feel like you have an empty spot or a negative spot that you want to fill in. So have a lot of fun with this process. Bunch up your leaves where you want them. Change your vine colors depending on the ornament you're needle felting, and just have a good time. I can't wait to see what everybody makes with these. I know I've had, honestly, such a blast making them, and I think that the layout is going to be really fun for you to work with. The last thing to do is to actually tie our twine on so we can hang our ornaments. I'm using a curved upholstery needle to feed that thread through, tie it in a knot again, and tie a knot at the top. You can be more sophisticated about it if you want, but this will do. They are delightful, charming, and oh so sweet. That's it for this time, friends. I hope you've had fun, and I really look forward to seeing your ornaments. Let us know down below maybe what your favorite takeaway was or what base colors you want to use. If you're looking for more fall inspo, we have lots on our playlist, lots of fall projects too, and this next video might be just what you're looking for. We'll see you next time.